It's July 7 and we're commemorating Katipunan Day, the very day that Andres Bonifacio and other Filipino revolutionaries and patriots founded the Katipunan to overthrow Spanish rule. There's an upcoming film that frames this important piece of Philippine history from a feminist lens. And it's none other than Lakambini, Gregoria de Jesus, headlined by Lovi Poe, Paulo Avelino, and Rocco Nacino. I'm multimedia reporter Juno Reyes, and we're here to talk about the Metadociction. But first, let's watch the trailer.
Kababayan, ikaw bagay natapos na sa iyong pagninilay-nilay.
Ako si Gregoria.
Nanunumpa sa harap ng kataas-taasang kagalang-galangang katipunan ng mga anak ng bayan. Mamili ka ng iyong pangalan sa kilusan.
Lakambini.
When I looked down sa ground, andon Gregoria de Jesus nakpil. So, kinilabutan ako.
Talagang nagmumulto siya sa atin.
Hanggang yun, nakikita mo yung dirt na yun, yung amoy na yun sa nangyayari sa bayan, di ba? It stinks. Paano mo alisin yung amoy na yun sa kasaysayan?
Pag-usapan mo po kay Aga naman.
Hindi ko mapapantayan ng ligayang binigay sa'yo ng Supremo. Pero kung hindi ka man mapuna ng puwang na iniwan niyo sa puso mo ituring mong bagong kabanata sa iyong buhay.
Pinawawalang saysay ko ang huwad na halalan na to!
Andres!
Huwag kayo magpapaputok!
Pinalabas na nila sa Supremo! Mga traitor!
Walang lihim. Hindi nakahiyan.
Kung pag-uusisa ang nagdala sa'yo dito, umurong ka.
Hindi ako uurong.
Sa buhay mang ito o sa kabilang mundo, hanggang may pag-asa.
This is a super interesting opener for our conversation today because we're joined by historian Xiao Chua, who served as the film's resource expert, Ellen Ongkeko Marfil, Lakambini's creative producer, and Angel Romero, the film's lead marketing strategist. Hello, and welcome to Rappler. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Makasaysayang araw.
Start things off. Could you start by telling our viewers who exactly is Lakambini and why is she so often erased when we're talking about the Katipunan?
Well, first of all, si Gregoria de Jesus, ang asawa ni Andres Bonifacio, ang Pangulo ng Haring Bayang Katagalugan at ang nagtatag ng kataas-taasang kagalang-galang na katipunan ng mga anak ng bayan. So, for many people, si Bonifacio, dahil siya yung asawa ni Andres Bonifacio, she's always relegated to the sidelines for many, many years. Siguro sinasabi ng mga bata, who's that Pokemon? Di ba? So, that is why maganda na ngayon, actually for the past few years, there are researches about women in the revolution. And of course, may naisulat naman na noon si Gregoria de Jesus. Pero sometimes kasi, a lot of the people who, when we talk about the Philippine Revolution, it's always the male that we highlight, the generals, di ba? And even after the revolution happened, those who were active in participating in the debates about the revolution were the men. And the women were like, they lived their lives. And alam mo naman nung unang panahon, di ba, ang mga kababaihan ay sinasabi na dapat tahimik ka lang. So, pero, if you're going to look at it, the mere fact that Gregoria de Jesus Lakambini wrote yung kanyang mga tala ng himagsikan at alaala ng himagsikan, ay she wants to talk to us even after her death. And so, yung storya na yan ni Gregoria de Jesus ay lalabas na sa isang pelikula na mapapanood ng mas maraming tao.
Yun. So, Lakambini, Gregoria de Jesus is a meta-docu-fiction film about Oryang. Before anything else, I think kakaibang term yung meta-docu-fiction.
Yeah.
So, could you share to our viewers what exactly that means and bakit yun yung format na napili nyo?
Okay. Siguro, first, it did not start out that way. It was going to be a full feature since we started this in 2013, the 150th of Andres Bonifacio. And I said, yun na nga, it's always the male leaders, no? Why not the perspective of a woman?
Wow.
No? I mean, there's so many problems in this country. Maybe it's nice to look at it from the perspective of the woman. But we had a lot of problems. In fact, when we pitched this, we already had shot 9 days. We had a commitment for a huge amount of money because it was a full feature of the Katipunan days. We pitched it to MMFF. It didn't pass. And I know somebody who was inside said, well, there were no combat scenes, as if that is what heroism is all about. Right?
Yeah.
And that, I disagree with that. So, we got to stop first, no? Nawala na resources. But along the way, I had to do it because parang, it's impossible that I don't do it. She's just too important. I fell in love with her, actually.
Yeah.
I discovered her after 2 years of research. The 9 days we shot, this was still the director by Jeffrey Haturian, who's a very good director. Napakaganda nito, napaka-importante, bakit hindi ko itutuloy? So, many years, ginawa ko yan. But, along the years, I started shooting, hindi ako mapakali. I interviewed artists, historians, and descendants all over. What will I do with this? No, I didn't want it to be a full documentary because I want to use the footages also,
Right.
which were very good. And then the timing had something to do with it. I think Oryang has something to do with it. It's our 150th anniversary this year. Last year I said, I have to do this no matter what.
Right.
But I needed a director who could put it together in a way, documentary sometimes it has a limited audience, who can mix it in an exciting way. And I met the director, Arjan Maribeta. I saw his work with us. This guy can play around and still cerebral, but still be emotional. No? Hindi lang nagpapaka-emote, no? But, you can touch hearts and minds talaga. So we finished. So, why meta-docu-fiction? One, docu, because it has interviews of all of them.
Yeah.
Fiction, we're retaining the drama. And meta, because it also talks about the journey of the film. So we also have interviews of what happened.
Parang it's a film within a film.
It reflects the journey
Yeah,
talaga of the
ganda.
filmmakers.
And I think a while ago you mentioned na since 2013 po kayo nag-research. So I think, the film was more than 10 years in the making. So why did it take so long for you to reach the finish line? And what were the challenges that came along with pulling it off?
Well, first of all, when we lost the financial commitment, it's not that easy. We approached, but the problem is she wasn't known.
Yeah.
She can talk about that further. She wasn't known. It's not easy to look for funding for someone who is not known. The only thing we know about her, even now, you ask students, what do they know? Asawa ni Andres, if you mention Ka Oryang. Or her, walang lihim na di nahahayag. Yun lang, nakalimutan natin. It's as if when Bonifacio died, she died. So parang, is there excitement in that film? It wasn't that easy, no? Plus, of course, we also had other projects to go on. But like I said, I had to do interviews along the way and looking for the right time. Sabi ko nga, Oryang has something to do with this Why it got finished now. I think it's just the proper timing. Especially given so many problems in the country.
Because direct, diba, this year is her 150th. So I think it's just perfect timing na natapos yung pelikula at ipapalabas ngayong taon.
Okay.
How did the long production time influence the outcome of the film? Parang, how different is the current final product compared to what you initially envisioned at the start?
Like I said before, full feature yan. Drama talaga. The script by Rodi Vera, won in Palanca, really wanted that. But I cannot afford, we cannot afford anymore a full feature. Naging meta-docu-fiction. Siyempre, ang impact after 10 years, we cannot just get the actress. Lovi Poe was abroad. No, I have to do it already kasi 150th niya na. Okay. My director had this bright idea. Why don't we get someone else? No?
Yeah.
So we got Elora Españo, who, believe it or not, was the double of Lovi 10 years ago. No? Kaya parang full circle sa kanya. I didn't even know. And then I realized, siya pala yun. No?
Ngayon ko lang nalaman yan. It's interesting.
And the thing was, yung difficulty na yon, kasi in film, importante continuity. The same actress all throughout. But because of the challenge, it also gave it a different kind of aesthetics that makes it so new. So now we have two young Oryang, and we have Gina Pareño.
The same.
The same. She shot 10 years ago, but we were able to shoot her recently, in 2024. So she's already older. At mas bagay pa doon sa latter part of her life.
Correct.
You will see it. Daming sabi, best actress, no? Kasi, kayang-kaya niya, no? Yung gauntness niya and everything.
And then just looking at her when we were filming, kasi, I had a cameo, di ba?
Yes.
Just seeing her talagang, yung expression lang ng face, pati ikaw madadala, maluluha ka din eh.
Yeah.
But I think important din to stress that this film, because of your young director and staff, no, is also very entertaining. Parang meron siyang kurot sa puso, nakakatuwa, no. May mga fun times din siya. So hindi lang siya mabigat. May mga masasayang moments din siya and heartwarming moments, I believe.
Yun nga, ang naging maganda dito, docu-fiction, no, and meta. It's not just cerebral,
Right.
parang educational. It's also very emotional, dramatic, and fun. You're going to, especially the young people, we know how important for the young people to understand history.
Yeah.
Right? So we were very conscious that our film would communicate with them. So this is a love story, actually. When it's a woman's film, the present talagang nag-hit sa audience are love stories. Well, this is a love story. But she was in love with Andres Bonifacio. She also married Juno Reyes. People don't know that. He was the composer. And together, they had 6 children, one of whom became national artist for architecture. And ang difference ito, very clear yung love niya for Inang Bayan. And how she struggled all through those loves of her life.
Parang love quadrangle.
Love quadrangle.
Diba? Hindi love triangle, love quadrangle. Ang ganda.
Because the two men were really respected each other also.
Yun. So speaking of, many of the hero-centered films that we've been seeing in recent years, of course, yung men yung nasa center. What does it mean now for there to finally be one that's focused on women in recent years? And she's the mother of Philippine Revolution pa.
I think it's all about representation and visibility. Nanggagaling tayo sa, ang babae naman laging nandyan eh. Even pre-colonial, mga babaylan, di ba? Sila ang mga leader ng community. So I think it's time for people to see women in a different light. And it's good that we have this type of film that actually pushes women front and center, na hindi sila asawa lang or hindi lang sila by the way. It's really time for us to see the value of the contribution of women to country, diba? To the country and nation building. So, I think importante na makuha ng mga tao yan. And also, maganda rin sinabi kanina ni Direk na, diba, iba-ibang mukha ni Oryang. Dahil lahat tayo pwedeng maging si Oryang. Kaya nga sinasabi namin na ako si Lakambini kasi hindi lang iisa ang mukha ng bayani. Hindi lang siya lumalaban. Hindi lang rin siya nakikibaka. Pero pwedeng may quiet strength and steady courage all throughout that supports, other heroes as well.
People don't know this. Lakambini, you Google it, it's a muse of beauty pageants. What it actually means is based on the root word, lakan, male hero. So Lakambini is woman leader because wala namang beauty pageants that time.
Right.
No? I was actually surprised, no? Why isn't she recognized? Why was she erased? Maybe because it will open some Pandora's box also.
Yeah.
Remember? Walang lihim na
Dahil
dinahayag.
may mga nangyari sa buhay niya, di ba, na
May
masakit.
nangyari sa kanya na masakit. And the whole country cannot, I think we haven't grappled with the Katipunan period. I think it's about time there should be a closure. And I think looking at it from a woman's perspective, it might be a gentler way of closure. But the review could be very important for all of us.
I would like to add, kasi gusto kong basahin yung mismong sinulat ni Gregoria de Jesus. Just to summarize yung kanyang role sa Katipunan. Aside from being the quiet inner strength, organizing the women, sabi niya dito, ako'y nagsanay sa pagsakay sa kabayo at nag-aral na mamaril at humawak ng ilang uri ng sandata na nagamit ko rin naman sa maraming pagkakataon. Napagdanasan ko rin naman ng matulog sa lupa nang walang kinakain sa buong maghapon, uminom ng maruming tubig o kaya'y katas ng isang uri ng baging sa bundok na totoong mapakla na nagiging masarap din dahil sa matinding uhaw. Sapagkat wala akong nais ng panahong yaon kundi ang mawagayway, ang bandila ng kasarinlan ng Pilipinas.
Ganda.
Just imagine, yung kababaihan Akala natin sa lalaki lang nanggagaling ito, pero yung mga kababaihan natin, at nakita natin yan mula sa Katipunan, sa ikalawang digmaang pandaigdig, sa panahon ng martial law, hanggang ngayon, lumalaban ng kababaihan at in fact, ang laki-laki na talaga ng papel nila. Marami na tayong, kumbaga, malayo na, di ba? Pero malayo pa.
Yes.
Kaya nga, mahalaga yung pelikulang ito. Pag-usapan pa natin.
Yun. Actually, that's a perfect segue into my next question. So what does it exactly mean to rewrite or retell revolution from a feminist perspective?
Exactly, no, like what she said. First, what did they do? It's like, unlike ko nga lagi, no? Walang bayan, tulad ng tao, walang bayang iniluluwal na hindi katuwang ang kababaihan.
Correct.
Pero bakit parang nawawala sila sa picture? Okay, is it just because to give them attention? Of course not. Women have different perspective. Therefore, in fights between husband and wife, they have a different way of solving things. Maybe if there are more women in governance also, di ba? They'll have a different way of solving things, of making a country move, you know, or a family move. Yan yung feminist lens. Because they are as important, equal. It's not just giving them parang DUI, giving them attention just because to help them. No. It's time we recognize, acknowledge, and if we acknowledge women, I think it could empower the women of today and it could help our population move better. Para hindi lang one-half ang talagang nakakakilos.
Ang ganda nung sinabi ni Dr. Jose Rizal, nakalagay ito doon sa kanyang monument in Spanish, no? La Madre Filipina cría el porvenir del país. The Filipino mother creates the future of the nation. So, hindi ba? Kasi yung mga nanay, yung mga kababaihan, kahit wala silang anak, no? Ang laki ng papel nila sa paghubog. Mga guro, di ba, na marami sa kanila ay kababaihan. Ang laki ng papel nila sa paghubog ng kabataan. Importante yun no? So, kaya nga sinasabi ni Jose Rizal, at hanggang ngayon, ito yung nakikita natin, kailangan educated ang mga babae. Kasi sabi nga, parang hindi to sinabi eksakto ni Rizal, pero ito yung parang pinaka-gist nung kanyang letter to the women of Malolos. If you want to kill a nation, you make the women ignorant. Diba? So, kaya hanggang ngayon, kailangan isulong natin kaming mga kalalakihan din, isulong natin ang karapatan ng mga kababaihan, ang kaginhawaan ng mga kababaihan, sapagkat ang kaginhawaan ng kababaihan ay kaginhawaan ng lahat ng kasarian. Diba?
But let me it's not like her. She had to stop schooling. She offered to stop schooling so her brothers could go to school. She was a silver medalist. Okay?
That's true.
When she was, the parents didn't want Andres kasi he's a Mason.
Ganda niyan.
Trinap siya. You know what she did at 18 years old? She wrote to the governor to say, free me because I want to marry that guy. At that age, in 1896. Di ba? And then next, you talk about Rizal. Rizal said, youth is the hope of the motherland. How come we don't know? How come we don't study her 10 advice to the youth?
Correct.
One of which is, youth, in Tagalog, o in English, o Tagalog lang, pandayin nyo ang isang interes na kinahihiligan nyo na makakapagsilbi sa bayan.
Correct.
That is just as important as youth. Is the hope of the motherland. We train our children now, sige, so you can earn well. That's good. Yeah, but to hone something that is your interest, but for the country. We're not studying that. And she has 10 more, that are all awesome. Sana pinag-aaralan siya. So I think also it's a lack of acknowledgement. Even without nga pure education, they have it. You know why? Sorry, I'm biased. Because women take care of the household and the children and the nurturing. So it comes naturally. That intelligence is really there, Although tama rin, no? They should be given more opportunities for higher education and all of that.
Nangyayari naman na, di ba? Pero madami pa rin pang-aabuso. Kaya mahalaga yung pelikulang ito to highlight. Kasi naabuso din si Oriang. So, nangyayari pa rin yan at kailangan nating, kumbaga, isulong, no? Matuto tayo sa leksyon ng nakaraan.
I will expose this. Secret sana yun But really, That was 1896, 1897, when she faced the jury. She never left Andres Bonifacio. She could have escaped. That's another greatness of her. In the trial records, she did say she was abused by this colonel.
Yeah.
Imagine at 1897, when how many years, more than 130 years after, women still have a difficulty talking about those things.
Yeah.
She was such a brave woman, ahead of her time.
Super ahead of her
So,
time, yeah.
she could really be inspiring.
Yeah.
At isa pang maganda dito, despite everything that happened to her, sabi nga ni Adrian Cristobal, no, the tragedy of the revolution, yet she never stopped loving the country.
Yeah.
That's why when she wrote those 10 billion to the youth, you will see her love for the country despite everything.
Yes.
Maybe she couldn't fight talaga right after that. Why? She was almost vanquished because of what happened, the death of the husband. Second, there was still a fight with Spain. And of course, the other side was on top, you know. But after that, she was able to talk. She was able to write. You know. Awesome. For you know what's nice about this film is to discover her, warts and all. Maraming makikita dyan eh. She's not a cardboard character. May in love ka nga.
Humanity din.
Oo.
No?
Warts and all, you see the difficulties. You know, one of the descendants, no, said, it's so painful pala to see what your grandmother endured.
During
Diba?
the time.
Wow.
But the other descendant said, but it's also so nice and I hope the young can see that there was greatness in the past. Meaning, there were so many who endured. That's the greatness. You know, we don't know that eh. Ang daming greatness na, pero when we look at it, the past, ano ba yan? Di ba? Parang ganon. But there was. So, you know, pasensya ka na. I'm very inspired by this film. Sabi niya, oh, this is just a 30-minute show. I just can go on and on and on.
Actually, I feel like tamang-tama nga lang na this year i-release yung film.
Yeah.
After all of those years of waiting, all of the problems that you ran into, I think there was a reason why it happened na this year niyo siya natapos. Aside from it, of course, being the 150th anniversary. Yun, so I wanted to go back to something that you briefly touched on a while ago. So, from the trailer, I think you could see na iba't iba yung actress that are portraying Gregoria de Jesus in this film. So, other than the challenges that you mentioned a while ago with Lovi being abroad and other things, is there another significance or broader meaning behind there being 3 different actresses portraying Oriang?
The director has his own words inside the film, no? Kasi nga, Metadociction, so may interview siya yan. He was saying, I think Oriang meant it na hindi matapos. He said that. Para merong ibang voices na makapagsalita.
Hindi lang iisa.
Hindi lang iisa. So, nandiyan historians, etc.
Kamag-anak.
Artists especially. Kasi nababangungot nga ako eh.
Yes.
So I had to ask the artists, including Love Diaz and ganyan. Di ba? Oh. They're on film. Okay. Now, ano nga yun? Yung, is there a reason, no? It had to be, the other people have to speak about it. And second, she is, the 3 people represent different parts eh. Unintentionally, no?
Yeah.
Kasi si Oriang, yan yung fresh, makita mo yung love story nila ng umpisa. Makakompel ka nga what happened to them and everything, ganyan. And then Elora came in, makita mo na siya yung naghahanap sa bundok.
So
And
you
all
have the
that
lover of
pain.
Yang, you have the
Yeah.
suffering of Yang, and
then
the
you-
matured of Yang.
The one with the wisdom.
Wiser.
The one who will say, walang lihim na di nahahayag.
Beautiful.
Di ba? Unintentional, sabi nga, the challenges created also. Siguro it's really, it's something to do with it eh.
I think then hindi rin natin ikakahon si Oriang sa isang aspeto lang.
Right.
May iba-iba talaga siyang muka. So, katulad ng babae, hindi lang isang stereotype dapat ang tinitingnan natin sa mga babae. Kailangan maging mas bukas tayo yung isipan natin na ang naratibo ng babae ay hindi lang iisa. Madami siyang pinupuntahan.
Nice.
So you have Elora Españo, Lovi Poe, and Gina Pareño all playing the same character. How are these 3 women cast? And ano yung particular uniqueness that each of them add to portraying Oriang?
Ayan.
You'd be surprised because this was 10 years ago. We even had an audition, Lovi audition. And then there were, yes, with her name and all. She did.
Wow.
And then, when we saw her, sa totoo lang, di ba mistisahin siya, no? Medyo ganyan. But we saw so much strength. And I felt, lalo na if you get to know this character, she is really a strong woman. So, she got the role. No, she really represented. There were others who were just as good, but she carried that strength. So, it doesn't matter if the look is, she's more mestiza, no? We could have, yun. Si Elora naman, hindi na ako namili doon. Although, I approved it, no? Si the director. No? Tapos nung nalaman ko siya yung double, oh my God, the universe is really, okay. And of course, I've heard of her, that she's a good actress. Okay. Si Gina Pareño, she's she's an awesome actress. No? Si Oryang is very fragile. No? Gina is not. But if we're not after the exact look, It's more of the essence of the character, and they brought that in their characters.
And dun yung sa later incarnation ng pagganap ni Gina already won the international award.
Oh, yeah.
So that even added, value to the portrayal.
Yeah.
I believe. Oh.
Jeffrey Haturian was my first director, and Gina Pareño won in the film that he directed. That brought her also to abroad.
Wow. Diba?
So maganda yung relationship. And she's awesome. I had also worked with her on television. Magaling yun.
So I wanted to zoom out a bit now. How do you think all of these different forms of media, yung literature, art, and even music, and films like Lakambini play a part in how the public chooses to remember history?
Well, una sa lahat, remember that Oryang was also a poet. Because when Andres Bonifacio died, she wrote yung tula ni Oryang. Magmula giliw ng ikaw ay pumanaw, that poem. So, and then she wrote an essay and all of that, So, pero, kasi remember that we can relate to poetry, we can relate to songs, we can relate to films, kasi very understandable, very down to earth. It talks to our hearts rather. May cerebral, may information na binibigay, but it also talk to our heart. Nagsasalita din sa puso natin So kaya yun yung role nung kasi tandaan natin, yung pakikibaka, hindi lang yan sa baril, hindi lang yan sa sandata. There's also what we call creative resistance. So lalo na kapag mahirap na pabagsakin ng kalaban, at hindi lang ang kalaban yung mga diktador, hindi lang naman yung mga manlulupig, kalaban din yung kamangmangan, kalaban yung kahirapan, di ba? So pinapaalala natin na hindi lang yung mga hindi lang karahasan, yung paraan ng pakikibaka, kundi yung mga tula, yung mga awitin na nagbibigay ng kamalayan. Ang kultura kasi yung kaluluwa ng isang bayan.
Yeah.
So kaya yun magandang iparating sa isang pelikula ang buhay ng ating mga bayani, At very successful yan in the past few years. Kaya yun din, umaasa kami sa suporta ng taong bayan na ipalaganap ito sa kanilang mga estudyante, sa kanilang makakilala, na mapanood nating lahat itong Lakambini, Gregoria de Jesus nang sama-sama sa buwan ng Nobyembre.
Let me answer why that shapes. Very simple. Why do you think politicians who have presidential ambitions, most of them, they commission films? That is how strong the impact of film, not just TV. Kasi ang film, bigger than life yan Okay? And why do you think so many, I have many actor friends. Why do you think there are so many actors who become politicians? Yan ang impact. It shapes the culture.
Right.
It shapes the mindset. And so, that is why we continue. Why do you think 12 years I still did it? I believe in so much because I have been shaped by the arts. Yung pagkatao ko, na-shape through the arts. I've been in that field. Nabago ako So, in the usual education, diba, we all speak English. Diba? But because of the arts, I was in theater, I learned how to speak Tagalog. Parang ganon. It shapes you. That's how powerful. And that is why you want to go mainstream. Some people will say, I'm just an independent producer. Then mag-go ka na lang sa schools. I have a successful film that just goes around like that. But mainstream is so important. After all the men leaders had mainstream Di ba? Rizal, Aguinaldo, Gambursa, General Luna, they all had
Quezon, even Quezon, yeah.
mainstream yan eh. How do you change mindsets? Sa akin, film is that powerful. And that's why we hope everyone will support us.
And I think kasi proliferation din ng fake news, ng AI, I think yung truth should be seen on a bigger platform, and that would be film, di ba? Or, I mean, the arts in general.
Ako bilib na bilib ako sa fighting spirit ng dalawang kababaihan na ito sa pag-push nitong pelikulang Korean. Kasi minsan, pag kung ako yan, ako ay natatakot, mangangamba, magdadalawang isip. Sapagkat pag ako'y nanonood ng sine ngayon, may panahon nga nanonood kami ng wife ko ng sine, dalawa lang kami sa sinehan. Ganon na yung pangyayari ngayon sa ating mga sinehan na parang hindi, kumbaga parang nakikita yung film na hindi viable medium, yung mainstream filmmaking, no? So, meron ng mga platforms na lang, kaso minsan nga, nagiging tungkol sa hindi na tungkol sa mga magagandang bagay, di ba? Meron nang tungkol sa kahalayan, mga ganyan, na hindi na yung sining. So kaya maganda na pinupush natin na mainstream kasi napipilitan tayong itaas yung standard ng filmmaking. So ayun, talagang saludo ako sa mga kababaihang filmmaker.
Mas lalo kang sasaludo pag nalaman mo to. Palabas namin sa November. Okay? Ang kasabay namin, Wicked. Can you imagine that? Everyone was telling, what? Suicide! Kasi ang dami niyang fans.
Yeah.
But you see, I don't wanna move anymore. Patatapos na yung 150th niya.
Marami ka ng galaw eh.
Ayun, kakwento niya. Kakwento niya yan.
Yeah.
But first, we wanted it Women's March. Ang makakasabay ko, Sleeping Beauty. Sige, mag-move tayo July para opening of, it's Katipunan Day, July, right? And opening of classes. Perfect. Because he said, don't show that without classes. Okay. Kasabay ko, Jurassic Park and Superman. Oh my God. The guy is even going to come here, O sige, November. Sabi nung distributor namin, wala kayong kasabay. O sige, yan na. Perfect. Kasi malapit yung November 30. VAUC, Violence Against Women and Children is also November. Marami. Mamaya-maya, kasabay namin Wicked. Hindi na ako gagalaw. This is the state of Philippine cinema. I mean, at sometimes want to ask, with Trump giving all these tariffs, kami, ang mga Filipino filmmakers, pay the same. The American films, they pay the same. Di ba? Tapos yun ang kalaban namin malalaki. Kaya, talagang sasaludo ka. Kasi we are continuing.
Naman tayo ang mag-adjust. Sila naman dapat ang mag-adjust sa atin.
Sila mas malaki tax.
Yan ang call natin, ha?
But,
actually, ang pinakamaganda dito is asking people na unahin naman ng Pilipino muna before, watching other films. Kasi nga, as mentioned by Direk, ang dami ng challenges ng industry. And ito ay isang push for, more visibility, not just sa babae, kundi din sa mga pelikulang Pilipino.
Yeah, kwento natin to So, I hope people will go out and support us. It's their story. It's honoring our mother. Honor Thy Mother was another title I was thinking of. Diba? But pinanindigan ko. Karamihan, pag babae, tatawagin nickname or yang. I said, but the men carry their full names. Let's call her Gregoria de Jesus.
Yes.
She did not even use the Bonifacio except in some documents. Or Nakpil. Lakambini, she chose that name, di ba? So, yun, nilalaban lang namin. We think, we've had very good reception. And the young people, siyempre, nagsasample kami. Kasi, ba't hindi namin alam yon? So, gustong-gusto nila to kasi parang with the proliferation of fake news.
Yeah. Yes.
Even, there's always talk about historical revisionism during the martial law. It didn't start there. It started from the very beginning.
Yes.
But I'm not out for a fight. I think I'm out for a closure so we can move on.
You mentioned a while ago na tinimingan niyo talaga yung release ng film to kung kailan na bumalik yung mga bata sa school. November, first semester pa rin naman yun. So, abot naman. But I think I recall reading back in March na the production of the film took 12 years in total, 2 years of research and then 10 years of production. So, in that time frame, there was a bit of a struggle to get people talking about Gregoria de Jesus, both the film and I think the person herself also. So what are the other initiatives that you have in place to promote the film?
So as mentioned nga, when we looked at Google search, within the 10-year span, only like around 2,000 searched about Gregoria de Jesus. It's connected even to the song Lakambini.
Okay, the dancer.
Yes, and it's connected to also Andres Bonifacio. Pero wala talagang naghahanap ng anything about her. So I guess parang bukod doon, gusto naming maging household name siya, makilala siya. Para nga siyang eleksyon, no? So reintroducing Gregoria de Jesus. So aside from the usual na ways to promote a film, we actually target schools and we tie up with, organizations and LGUs to make sure na makilala pa siya ng mas madaming tao.
Syempre I was scared also, no? Because I really want to go mainstream. So I chose first to show it to some women's organizations. And then thankfully, one of those who watched was a congresswoman. So, she influenced. So, they filed a resolution to honor the 150th commemoration. Oryang is one of the 3 heroes that the National Historical Commission is honoring this year. The 2 are men.
Emilio Jacinto.
And
Gregorio del Pilar.
Who already has a film, diba?
May film na rin.
No? Nag-file a resolution. The Senate, they filed a resolution. 6
Localities.
Cities now have filed. Quezon City, Bacolod, Iloilo, Baguio, San Pedro, Quezon City, and San Pedro Laguna, and San Mateo recently. Kasi, kumbaga, we're also asking the help of government. We're asking the help of NGOs. We're asking the help of students, lahat. And welcome. I think it's about time They get interested. And it's not just about who is the actor, who is the actress. Usually, ganyan ang pelikula, di ba? Of course, malaking bagay, no? I'm so happy nga with Lovi. I mean, and, they're out to help us. Pero natutuwa ako with all these other organizations, schools.
We had the Department of Foreign Affairs and the National Historical Commission of the Philippines.
The National Historical Commission, nagpa-partner rin na kami. Thank you to Rappler because you aired our teaser.
Yes.
NHCP, National Historical Commission, they also aired it. And
In all of the museums.
In one day lang yata, 200,000 yung nag-likes.
Wow.
Diba?
Yes,
Oo.
yes.
Sa inyo, nung about 500,000 compared to the 2,000 that searched for her.
Yeah.
Diba? Malapit na tayo, maging household name. I mean, it's so welcome. I think people are looking for, for her maybe. In fact, one of my interviewees is a visual artist. She came from the States. Then she started painting Oryang because she said she was looking for a woman hero. Diba? Kaya yung mga painting niya, nakita niyo yung painting na yan? Kamukha niya nga yung painting. Diba?
Yeah.
But you just watch that in the film.
So with that said, as a last question, as a closer for our interview, kindly invite our viewers to catch the film. Where and when can they watch it?
Okay. I will talk to your audience. Thank you for watching our show. I would like to invite you to watch Lakambini, Gregoria de Jesus. This is November 19 in select theaters. We hope to have a lot of theaters. In fact, ngayon pa lang we've started talking to organizations so we can have block screenings. Please approach us, pelicula@gmail.com, because there will be discounted rates for students and teachers, and there will be block screenings for organizations. We're doing everything, to reach out to you, and we hope that you will get to know her and fall in love with her the way I did.
Yes. Correct.
Yeah, inspire her. Yeah.
Ako naman, I would like to say that this film is tatlong E. Enlightening, engaging, and entertaining. No? Napakahalaga nun. No? So, it will bring us to another world, and I hope that we fall in love with the Gregoria de Jesus heart. No?
Yeah.
Yung puso niya na pusong inialay sa bayan at umibig din sa kapwa.
So, I think lahat po tayo ay sila Lakambini, iba-ibang mga mukha natin. But always make sure that you take up space as a woman, as a Filipino. So, iniimbitahan po namin kayo na panoorin kami. At ito ang munting kontribusyon namin sa history ng Pilipinas. So, kita-kita po tayo sa mga sinihan ngayong November.
Kami si Lakambini. Even men are Lakambini.
Yes.
So you heard it first from the people behind Lakambini, Gregoria de Jesus. Once again, I'm Juno Reyes, and if you have any thoughts on this upcoming film, feel free to share them in the Our Life chat room on Rappler communities.